very concerned about where that income level would be set. Certainly, my children went to preschool because I could afford it and I saw the value in it. But there are a large number of families that maybe determined that you can afford preschool, but wouldn't make that choice because they have less discretionary income, and therefore children wouldn't get that opportunity. I'd be concerned about that.
Okay. I have Senator Beal, Senator Sauter, Senator Hogue, and Senator Butler, and a few others.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Recently, I saw a quote. I don't remember the source of the study. I invite either of you to respond, where it basically said by 4th to 5th grade, there was no noticeable difference between those children who had preschool, quality preschool, and those who had not. The question is, are you aware of such a study, and is that myth, or how would you describe that in view of the fact you cited other evidence?
Right. Yes. The studies, and there have been so many studies over the years, but the studies that talk about the fade-out effect, they're generally talking about a very narrow band of outcome measures. For example, IQ. You often see a fade-out effect on IQ. And those are studies that were done maybe 40 years ago. But I think we all know today that there are other measures that are much more significant and meaningful for a child's later success in life than IQ. So the fact that a child showed a gain of 10 points in IQ, but by 3rd grade that was down to only 5 points, which is about what those studies show. I think you have to ask how meaningful is that when compared to the other results that we do see, which is the grade retention and no placement or lesser placement in special education and higher graduation rates, those sorts of things. So you just have to ask yourself how meaningful is the measure.
Another thing that speaks to this issue, think about what happens when a child comes into school for the first time and is behind immediately. What happens at school is we allow that child to have additional support and additional time in a narrow part of the curriculum, generally reading and math. That's where schools are judged as to whether they're good schools or not. So children who are not good at reading and math get more of it and more of it. And as a result, they get less of something else. They lose opportunities early in their educational career to have social interaction with other young people, to have exposure to the arts. And as a result, they're spending more of their day doing things that are difficult for them. And as a result of that, it leads to kids not liking school very much. And there's where we start to develop that failure mentality that can result in kids dropping out of school.
Senator Sauter.
Mr. Chair. I know Pat, and Pat's from my area, and I've worked with him on youth and shelter services, and a couple of things I know, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, in Marshall County, we went 3 years ago from having about 16% of our preschool 4-year-olds being able to attend preschool, largely from the Head Start programs, those type of things. And we're now up to 90%. And actually,
I think we have just slightly over 200 young people in our 4-year-old programs today.
And we still have some kids on the waiting list. We could do more 4-year-olds if we had.
In some schools, there are waiting lists, and others we're trying to reach out to folks that fill those classes.
And you know what the current
transportation is a big part of it, because the kids are there, but getting them to school, educators are working to try to connect parents with one another. There's exchanges being made in parking lots at Swift and Company to try to get kids to school. It's a real challenge.